You ever notice how some people can walk into a room and without even saying a word, the whole atmosphere changes? Folks just straighten up, heads turn, and all eyes follow him. It ain't about the suit they're wearing or the car they drove up in. It's something deeper, something invisible. You can't touch it, but you can feel it. That, my friend, is respect. And the crazy part, it's not magic, it's psychology. See, respect is like a secret currency. You can't buy it with money, you can't steal it, you can't even demand it. You gotta earn it. And here's the thing, earning it ain't about being the loudest voice in the room or the one with the fanciest title. Nah, it's about knowing how people's minds work. Because when you understand people, you understand respect. Imagine this, every person you meet has an invisible respect meter inside their head. Everything you say, everything you do moves that meter up or down. And most folks don't even realize they're doing it. But if you know the right moves, the right words, the right energy, the right way to show up, you can raise that meter without even trying. Today, I'm about to give you the playbook. 5 little secrets from psychology that if you use them, people won't just notice you, they'll respect you. And here's the best part. This ain't about changing who you are. It's about unlocking the parts of you that were already built for greatness. Because respect ain't something you chase, it's something you attract. And when you understand the game, you don't just win people's attention, you win their admiration. So let's talk about how to do exactly that. You know, a lot of people get it twisted when it comes to respect. They think respect is something you can just demand. Like, hey, I'm older than you, or I'm the boss around here. So you automatically have to give it. But that's not how the real world works. The truth is, respect isn't a title. It's not a job position. It's not even about age. It's about the way you carry yourself every single day. It's about the little choices you make, the small ways you treat people, the consistency in your behavior. Respect is something you build brick by brick, action by action, until it's so solid that people can't help but give it to you. The thing is, when someone truly respects you, it's not because they're scared of you or because they feel forced. It's because they admire how you move. They see the way you operate when no one's watching, and they notice how you handle yourself when everyone's watching. And believe me, people are always watching. Even in the moments you think no one cares, someone's paying attention. And those moments, those are where your reputation is being built. A person who earns respect doesn't have to raise their voice to be heard. They don't have to remind people of their status. They don't need to announce what they've done in life, because the proof is already there in their actions. Think about it. When you meet someone who treats the waiter with kindness, who keeps their word even when it's inconvenient, who shows up on time, not because it's a rule, but because it's a habit, you remember them differently. You walk away feeling like, man, that person's solid. And that's how respect starts to grow. The problem for a lot of folks is they want quick results. They want respect to come overnight. But it doesn't work like that. Earning respect is like planting seeds. You can't just throw them in the dirt today and expect a full garden tomorrow. You water it, you care for it, you keep showing up. And little by little, those seeds turn into roots, and those roots turn into something strong. Consistency is the water that grows respect. You can't just be good to people on your good days. You can't only have integrity when it's easy. The real test is how you act when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when things aren't going your way. That's when people are really watching to see what you're made of. And let's be honest, earning respect isn't glamorous all the time. Sometimes it means biting your tongue when you'd rather snap back. Sometimes it means taking the high road, even when the low road would feel a lot better in the moment. It's choosing to show grace in situations where anger would be the easier choice. And here's why that matters. People may not remember every word you say, but they will always remember how you made them feel. If your presence leaves people feeling valued, safe, and understood, your respect account just grew a little more. There's also something powerful about humility in this whole process. See, respect doesn't come from walking around acting like you're better than everybody else. It comes from showing people that you're human too, but still holding yourself to a standard. People don't respect perfection. They respect effort. They respect someone who admits when they're wrong, but also takes action to make it right. They respect someone who has the strength to stand firm in their values, even when it's unpopular. And here's the part a lot of people overlook. Respect isn't just about how you act toward others. It's also about how you treat yourself. If you don't have self-respect, if you don't set boundaries, if you don't keep promises to yourself, people will pick up on that. They'll see it in the way you allow others to treat you. When you respect yourself enough to hold a certain standard for your life, people naturally fall in line with that. It's like you're telling the world, this is the level I operate on, and the world responds accordingly. So when we talk about earning respect through small, consistent behaviors, it's really about aligning your actions with your values day after day. It's saying, this is who I am, and then living that out in the way you speak, the way you listen, the way you show up, the way you follow through. Over time, that pattern becomes your signature. People start to know you for it. And the beautiful thing, once you've built that kind of reputation, you don't have to chase respect anymore. It walks right up to you and stays. Because at the end of the day, respect isn't about the big moments. It's about the small ones that stack up over time. It's about the way you greet someone when you're in a rush, the way you respond when someone makes a mistake, the way you stand by your word even when no one would blame you for backing out. Those little actions, those are your bricks. Lay them well, lay them often, and before you know it, you've built something people can't help but admire. One of the quickest ways to make someone respect you is also one of the simplest. But for some reason, it's the thing most people overlook. It's listening. Really listening. Not the kind where you're just waiting for your turn to talk. Not the kind where you're nodding while your mind is off somewhere else thinking about your grocery list or what you're going to say next. I'm talking about the kind of listening that makes the other person feel like, for that moment, they are the only thing that matters in the world. When someone truly feels heard, it changes how they see you. Most people go through their whole day barely being acknowledged. They talk, but they don't really feel like anyone's paying attention. So when you show up and actually give them your full presence, looking them in the eye, catching the small details, asking follow-up questions that show you care, it's like water in a desert. They notice it instantly, and without even realizing it, their respect for you grows. The thing is, listening isn't just about hearing the words coming out of someone's mouth. It's about hearing the emotion underneath them. It's catching the hesitation in their voice when they talk about something painful. It's noticing the way their tone changes when they get excited about something. It's reading between the lines, because people don't always say exactly what they mean, but they'll always show it if you pay close enough attention. Most folks listen with the intention to reply, but the real skill is listening with the intention to understand. And that means you have to be okay with not making the conversation about you. Sometimes you'll hear something and you'll want to jump in with your own story. Oh yeah, that happened to me too. But when you do that too quickly, you accidentally take the spotlight off the other person. Respect grows when you let people finish their thoughts without feeling rushed or overshadowed. Think about the people you've respected most in your own life. Chances are they made you feel valued when you spoke to them. Maybe they didn't interrupt. Maybe they remembered small things you'd said weeks ago. Maybe they looked you in the eye instead of at their phone. These little behaviors tell someone, you matter to me, I'm not just here to pass the time. And when someone feels that from you, they can't help but see you differently. Listening is also one of the best ways to learn about people. And the more you understand someone, the more you can connect with them. If you take the time to really hear what someone is saying, you start to see their perspective. You learn their fears, their goals, their frustrations, their dreams. And when you respond in a way that shows you've taken those things into account, it's powerful. You go from being just another voice in the crowd to someone who gets them. and people respect the ones who understand them. It's worth saying, too, good listening requires patience. Sometimes people will talk in circles before they get to the point. Sometimes they'll say things you don't agree with. Sometimes they'll open up about something you don't have an answer for. And that's okay. You don't always have to fix it. In fact, most of the time, people don't want you to fix it. They just want to feel like someone actually heard them. And in a world where everyone's trying to shout the loudest, being the one who chooses to listen speaks volumes about your character. Now, listening doesn't mean you're silent the whole time. It means you're engaged. You're asking questions, you're clarifying what they mean, you're reflecting things back to them so they know you're paying attention. If someone says, "Work has been stressful lately," a good listener doesn't just nod. They say, "What's been going on?" That small extra step shows that you're not just hearing them, you're interested in what they're saying. One of the most respectful things you can do for someone is to remember what they've told you. If a coworker mentions they're nervous about a big presentation next week, and then you follow up and ask, "Hey, how did that presentation go?" That sticks with them. It's such a small thing, but it communicates that you value their words enough to remember them. And when people feel valued, they naturally respect you more. Another thing about listening, it makes people feel safe around you. If you're the kind of person who listens without judging, without cutting people off, without making them feel small, you become someone they trust. And respect and trust, they're like twins. You can't really have one without the other. When people trust that you'll handle their words with care, they'll come to you more, they'll confide in you more, and their respect for you will deepen every single time. It's funny because listening doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't require a degree. It doesn't take special talent. It doesn't need years of training, but it does require effort. You have to be intentional about it. You have to put the phone down. You have to quiet your own mind, and you have to resist the urge to make it about you. And in this world, that's rare enough to make you stand out. So when it comes to earning respect, don't underestimate the power of simply being present with someone. When you really listen, you're telling that person, "I see you, I hear you, you matter." And people never forget the ones who made them feel that way. There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, and the way you walk that line can decide whether people respect you or resent you. See, confidence is magnetic. When someone is sure of themselves without having to put anyone else down, people naturally lean toward them. But arrogance, that pushes people away. It's like a wall that says, "I'm up here, you're down there." And nobody wants to feel like they're being looked down on. The tricky part is both confidence and arrogance can look similar on the surface. They can both be loud, they can both take up space, they can both draw attention. But the energy underneath is different. Confidence says, "I know my worth and I respect yours too." Arrogance says, "I know my worth and yours doesn't matter." People feel that difference instantly, even if they can't always explain it. True confidence doesn't have to announce itself. You can feel it in the way a person carries themselves. They stand tall, not to be intimidating, but because they're comfortable in their own skin. They speak with certainty, not because they need to convince you they're right, but because they believe in what they're saying. They listen without feeling threatened by other people's opinions, because their sense of self isn't fragile. That's the kind of presence that earns respect. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room. In fact, some of the most confident people I've ever met weren't the ones who talked the most. They were the ones who made every word count. They spoke with purpose, they didn't ramble, and they didn't waste time trying to impress anyone. Confidence doesn't feel the need to prove itself all the time. It just is. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people mistake arrogance for confidence because they think being sure of yourself means acting like you're better than others. But real confidence doesn't require comparison. You don't have to win by making someone else lose. You don't have to shine by dimming someone else's light. A confident person knows there's enough room for everyone to succeed. And that mindset alone makes people respect them more. Think about the difference between someone who says, I'm great at what I do, versus someone who says, I'm great at what I do and I admire what you do too. That second statement, that's confidence without ego. It acknowledges your own strengths while still valuing someone else's. And when you can do that, people see you as a leader, not just a loud voice. Another big part of confidence is humility. And a lot of people get that wrong. Humility doesn't mean shrinking yourself or acting like you're not good at something when you are. It means knowing your strengths, but not letting them make you arrogant. It means you can acknowledge your wins without rubbing them in people's faces. You can take a compliment without brushing it off or turning it into a bragging session. And you can admit when you're wrong without feeling like it makes you less worthy. That's a huge sign of confidence. By the way, being able to say, I don't know, or I made a mistake, arrogance can't do that. Arrogance always has to be right, always has to have the last word. But confidence is secure enough to own up to flaws because it knows that one mistake doesn't define the whole person. And people respect that honesty a lot more than fake perfection. It also shows in how you handle success. Someone with arrogance uses success to separate themselves from others, to say, look how far above you I am. But someone with confidence uses success to inspire. They're willing to share their knowledge, help others grow, and celebrate other people's wins just as much as their own. That's the kind of energy people want to be around. That's the kind of person you root for because they're not just in it for themselves. Even body language plays a role here. Confident people don't need to dominate the space. They own it without trying. They make eye contact without staring someone down. They have a steady tone of voice that's calm but firm. They're relaxed but not sloppy. All of these little cues send a signal that says, I'm comfortable with myself and I'm comfortable with you. And that comfort makes people feel at ease, which naturally turns into respect. The beautiful thing about confidence is that it's not about being perfect. It's about being authentic. If you're confident in who you are, you don't have to pretend to be something else just to fit in. You can admit what you don't know, you can laugh at yourself, you can handle criticism without falling apart. Because at the end of the day, you're grounded in your own worth. And that's unshakable. So when it comes to earning respect, remember this: people are drawn to confidence, but they'll run from arrogance. Show people that you believe in yourself, but also that you believe in them. Stand firm in your values without shoving them down someone's throat. Speak with certainty, but listen with openness. Carry yourself with pride, but never at the expense of someone else's dignity. That's how you walk that fine line. And when you do it well, you won't have to demand respect. It'll come to you naturally. Consistency and integrity are like the twin pillars that hold up respect. You can have charm, you can have talent, you can even make a great first impression. But if you can't be consistent, if people can't trust that your words match your actions, that respect will crumble fast. See, people are paying attention to whether you're the same person on Monday morning as you are on Friday night. They notice if you show up only when it's convenient, or if you show up no matter what. Consistency is powerful because it builds reliability. And reliability is a rare thing these days. Everybody's busy, everybody's distracted, and people often make promises they never follow through on. So when you become that person who always does what they say they're going to do, you instantly stand out. Folks know they can count on you, and that is one of the fastest ways to earn lasting respect. Now, integrity. That's the part that makes consistency meaningful. Because you can be consistent in a lot of things, but if you're consistent in the wrong things, that doesn't earn respect, it earns suspicion. Integrity is about doing the right thing, even when it's hard, even when it costs you something, even when nobody's looking. It's keeping your word not just when it's easy, but when it's inconvenient. It's being honest when it would be easier to lie. It's owning up to your mistakes instead of hiding them. The thing about integrity is it doesn't make you perfect. People with integrity still mess up, but they face it head on. They don't make excuses. They don't try to shift the blame. They fix it. And every time you do that, you're building something more valuable than money trust. Once people trust your character, they respect you almost by default. Consistency and integrity work together because one without the other falls flat. If you're consistent but you lack integrity, people will see you as predictable but not trustworthy. If you have integrity but you're inconsistent, people might admire your values but they won't rely on you. It's the combination of the two that creates something unshakable. And here's the thing, this isn't about perfection, it's about patterns. No one's going to remember if you were late one time or forgot to return a call once. But if you make it a habit to follow through, to keep your promises, to act in alignment with your values, that becomes your reputation. People will start to say things like, if they said it, they'll do it. Or if they're involved, I don't have to worry. That's respect at work. You also have to remember that integrity shows up in the small things, not just the big ones.